want more to achieve the grandeur the festival has today.
The pageantry is a lot bigger than I ever conceived it. I'm not from Hollywood. I didn't think about that so much.
Individual gold on 6 different apparatus. Hi again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome. 2-time Olympic gold medal champion Bart Connor is alongside. It's going to be a very exciting evening. And, of course, our highlighter, one of our stars, a former teammate of yours, Scott Johnson, who won the gold medal the other night in the all-around.
And I'm so glad to see that Scotty is back in top form, and he's very hungry. He did well in the all-around, and he's determined to win quite a few medals here tonight.
And the number 2 men's gymnast in the United States, 21 years of age, out of Amherst, New York, Dan Hayden.
And both Dan and Scott are in all 6 events tonight, so it's going to be dueling battles all the way to the end.
And another fellow who is here is celebrating his 23rd birthday tonight, John Sweeney, right here.
And John is a very exciting gymnast to watch. Notice he just vaults over the parallel bars there. He does all kinds of originality. He does a beautiful vault here, a one-armed Kasamatsu with a half turn. Tremendous work in the air. And he's exciting on the full exercise. Full twist, through to a double twist. Great work for John Sweeney.
So you will be seeing those kinds of pictures and much, much more. It'll be gold medal performances coming up tonight. Thank you very much, Jim Simpson. We take a look now at some past winners in floor exercise. And, of course, some very familiar names there. Teammates of Bart, Scotty Johnson, Mitch Gaylord as well. And we're about to watch Dan Hayden representing the South team, the number 2 gymnast in the United States, 21 years of age, out of Amherst, New York.
Dan has had a rough couple of weeks. You know, he was just in Moscow at the Goodwill Games where he peeled off the high bar, kind of rattled his tree, he told me, but he seems to be getting back on his feet, and he was a little sore for a couple of weeks, but he seems to be in good condition now.
Bart, you have to adapt coming from Moscow back home to the United States, not only to the difference in climate here in Houston, but a difference in food and diet. You were talking about that last night, and certainly the time.
It was very difficult for all the gymnasts to get used to the Soviet Union. They turn right around and have to come back and compete over it. It is very difficult to do that, but I'm pleased to see that Dan Hayden used a new mount in his flow routine. He did a half-in double front. It's an Arabian double front, which is great to see him doing some of the more difficult moves because he does need to do more difficulty. Nice work there. On a straddle plunge, press to a handstand. He has had some serious ankle problems. In fact, he dislocated his ankle last fall in the World Championships in Montreal, and they had to carry him off the floor. So he has had a rough year, as I mentioned, but it looks great now, and it's so nice to see that not only is he looking in good condition, but he's challenging new elements, doing more difficulty, which he needs to do if he plans on being a contender on the international scene.
You mentioned his year. How about crushed vertebrae, a broken leg, and a back fracture?
And a nice dismount, a full to a punch front.
Dan Hayden, 5'6", 144 pounds, 21 years of age, out of Amherst, New York. He scored a 9.45 on the floor exercise the other night in the all-round competition. First rotation.
Okay, on the dismount here, he does round up, back handspring, back flip with a full. Right here, boom, punch front. That's a D move. Very nice dismount.
They are so identical, it's impossible to tell them apart. And they will be back later on.
Once again, it's very easy to do a back flip with a full twist, but right there, a lot of pressure on the ankles to punch that front.
Public address announcer makes a good point. Dan and his brother Dennis look so much alike, it's hard to tell them apart. Now, they don't do what they do with thoroughbreds, which is tattoo their upper lip.
I've had trouble telling them apart, and I've known them for 4 or 5 years. And in Moscow, Dan wiped out off high bar and had a bruise on his face, and that gave me an indication at least of which one was Dan and which one was Dennis.
There is Mark Steves, who qualified with a 9.45 the other night. Mark is 20 years of age, out of nearby San Antonio, Texas, and out of the University of Oklahoma. You know, my favorite story from Moscow was when you guys flew in 200 pizzas from Amsterdam. That tells me the food wasn't too hot.
Okay, nice mount for Mark Steves. It's a full twisting double back. He's a very strong tumbler. He's good punch. Nice whip backs, through to a tuck double back. Great second pass. You find generally in the individual event finals that we have here that the gymnasts try to do just a little bit more. They might work on, add some new elements. try some original skills. But in this competition, more important than any other time in the competition of gymnastics, the event finals, you have to do lots of difficulty, more than you had to do in the all-around competition if you want a big score from the judges. They are requiring more difficulty in this final performance here.
How about the size of the floor? How important does that become?
Well, he is just exactly right for a good, very nice work on a nice tuck double back. He is exactly right. He has a perfect body for gymnastics. He's very strong, but he's pretty short. He's very quick. You can't teach fast twitch muscle fiber. It's unfortunate, but that has to be something that you're born with. And you can tell here, he gets good speed, but the critical element right here is boom, you have to get off that floor. It is a full in, back out, and a great job handling the landing. This is especially good right here. He does round off to a whip back, right to another one. Now flip-flop, stand up, tuck double back. Great work on the second tumbling run. Now on the dismount, it's just a tuck double back, but it's very important that he get up in the air, pull it around, and try and plant that landing. Boy, that was nice.
Mark lives in Norman, Oklahoma. He trains with the San Antonio Gymnastics School. He's 5'4", 125 pounds. Says his favorite event is the vault and the floor exercise. At the University of Oklahoma, the man to beat right now is Dan Hayden with an 18.95 total. 9.55 the score for Mark Steeves. So we will total that up as we watch Ted Demas out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's just 17 years of age, and he placed second in the '86 South African Games. How important is international competition then coming back home?
Well, especially for these young athletes, it's very important that they start to build some experience competing at international events. You have to build a name for yourself if you're going to get the big scores. Okay, it was pretty tough on that mound. He was a little short on the backflip with a 1.5 twist, and he barely made that punch front, but he will get D-move credit for that, which of course is the D-move is the highest level of difficulty that you can be awarded in gymnastics competition. Now here is a really interesting pass. Right here he's going to do round up back handspring, pike double back. Nice work. Now the interesting thing about that is that's a pike double back that is usually reserved for a diagonal tumbling run where you have about 57 feet to run and build up some speed. In this case, he did it on the side. That made it unusual. Side pass. 2 handspring fronts. Okay, he's done 3 tumbling runs now. He's fulfilled the requirement of covering the floor area. He's showing balance and flexibility in the Y scale there. Here comes his dismount. Tuck double back. Oh, just a little bit short of rotation.
Now Mark will need at least a 9.45 to catch our current leader with a 19.00 total. Ted needs a 9.45 as you look at the mount.
Okay, here is a 1.5 twist. Now watch, he's going to spot the floor right here, and boom, he's got to punch the front. He's just a little short of rotation, so it's tough. He almost didn't make that all the way around. Here once again is the pike double back on the side. See, he can only do 1 step in a hurdle to get into this, and he has nice work pulling this baby around, because that is tough to do in the span of about 20 feet instead of about 45 or 50 that you're normally used to getting. He had a little trouble here on the dismount as he did not take it up enough. He kind of leaned back. He's pulling like crazy to make it around there, and he did a good job at not putting his hands down, which of course would have been a major deduction.
A senior at El Dorado High School, Ted Demas out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The man to beat is Mark Steeves right now with a 19.00 total. Happy birthday to this man. He is 23 as of this date. John Sweeney qualified with a 9.85, so he's got a real good shot at the gold.
And he did an outstanding routine in the team competition the other day. He has all the right elements to be a great floor exercise champion. He does great tumbling. He has excellent flexibility and strength, and of course his transitional, his corner moves are outstanding. Okay, here we go. Full in, pike out. Okay, that was so high. He took a step forward, which will of course only be 1/10 of a point deduction. Now watch this, full twist to a double twist, punch front. Nice combinational tumbling. But look at the presentation. He has great flexibility, excellent rhythm in the exercise. He's got to hold that handstand.
Didn't quite hold it long enough, did he?
You know, you're supposed to hold him for 2 seconds. And I don't know, that's going to be a close call. It looked to me like it was less than 2 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if the judges give him credit or make a deduction.
Most of John's routine we showed you at the very top of the telecast. It was good for a 9.85 the other evening. All he needs is a 9.18 to move into a tie for the top spot. Steeves is first, Hayden second, Demas third.
Okay, now here is a very big pass. This is his dismount. Usually here he does a full twisting double back. Let's see if he can make it. Full in, go! Oh, what a landing! Okay.
Not even a waiver.
Boy, that was nice. You know, he had a couple of bobbles early in the exercise on the press to handstand and on the scale, but the tumbling could not have been better. Here's the mount. Watch, he's going to do a full in here. Now watch, he pulls his leg straight all the way around. Now he takes one step forward, but it is a very difficult mount, so the judges will only take 1/10 of a point. The second tumbling run is a handspring. Tucked, full twist step out, round off, back flip with a double twist. Right here, punch front. Tremendous combination. Now here's the last tumbling run. This is tough. It's tough to do at the beginning, but it's nearly impossible to do at the end. Full in, he pulls this baby around, and boy, what a landing.
Like landing in cement for John Sweeney. 5'5", 142 pounds, just about perfect. One of 7 children. Voted Arizona State Student Athlete of the Year last year. And I guess if you live out in the Phoenix-Tempe area, you better like mountain bike climbing, huh?
And John Sweeney did a great job at leading his team, the Arizona State Sun Devils, to their NCAA championship this year.
Still waiting for the marks for John Sweeney, having his 23rd birthday here in Houston. And there is Joseph Ray out of Minneapolis, one of the Golden Gophers. His major is biology, and he qualified the other night with a 9.40. And the judges are going to be having a conference right now. Explain what goes on and how frustrating this is while you're waiting for your score.
Well, it is tough for the gymnasts because they're getting all psyched. They know that they're ready to perform, and all of a sudden the judges have to get together. The reason why this happens is that there are 4 judges that are officially scoring here and an arbitrator. So actually 5 judges participate in this conference. Now what happens is the 4 judges all have to give a score. Now the high and the low are thrown out and the middle 2 are averaged. Now if there is too great of a difference between the high and the low scores in that average, then the judges have to get together and decide if maybe they had discrepancy on, for instance, the difficulty that the gymnast should have been awarded, or maybe in many cases the subjectiveness of the gymnast performing the execution. And sometimes they make a minor bobble. Some judge will take 1/10 or 2. Some judge will take 3 or 4. So it's very subjective. But once again, what a tremendous job on this dismount. Most gymnasts use this as a mount, and yet it's very, very difficult to pull it off at the end of the exercise as a dismount.
As a competitor, of course, you don't know what the conference is all about, but it's got to be very frustrating.
Well, I think what's happened in this case is that his tumbling was very, very clean. But I think that they have a discrepancy on how much to take off for a couple of the execution errors. And I believe the critical one was a mistake on the press to handstand. Some of the judges probably gave him credit for it, and some of them probably didn't.
Not talking. Right now, the man in the top spot, Mark Steeves, with a 9.55 here tonight and a 19.00 total. Next is Dan Hayden, a 9.50 this evening and an 18.95 total. And in the third spot at the moment, Ted Demas with a 9.30 and an 18.85 total. But right now we're waiting on the score for John Sweeney. And of course, this is not going to help Joey Ray, who's waiting to perform in his floor exercise.
Now conferred, and the score is being posted for John Sweeney.
There it is.
Score is
9.50. So he solidly moves into the top spot, going for the gold in the floor exercise. Now, Joseph Ray out of Minneapolis.